Hi guys, welcome to this episode. We're at the heavy haulage hill at the Welland steam rally. If you want to see the full video on the Welland steam rally, I'll have that linked at the end of this video. This video is just going to be concentrating on the heavy haulage, as you can see behind me. In this episode there will be plenty of steam heavy haulage as well as some diesel heavy haulage. And excitingly, in this video there will be a recovery of a steam engine who couldn't quite make it up the hill. On the right hand side we've got a short wheelbase Foden, and on the left hand side, starting us off with the heavy haulage, we have a Marshall traction engine with a load of what looks like a big boulder. Next up is a Fowler road locomotive with what looks to be an attachment for a crane, but no crane fitted. Here is then a Thornycroft heavy haulage truck of some kind with a Foden truck on the back of the trailer. Next up is a McLaren traction engine really pulling up the hill, with a big boiler of sorts on its trailer. Followed up then by an Evelyn Porter road locomotive, and then a miniature McLaren pulling a little trailer. Here is then what I believe to be a Ransom traction engine. Now we have got two traction engines but no trailer. The rear one being a Marshall again, and the front one being a Foster, which has been built over a 7-year period as a new build, finished in 2022. Next to tackle the hill is a single crank compound barrel and a Evelyn and Porter traction engine. Now the Marshall and the Foster that we've seen previously have hooked up to one of the smaller heavy haulage trailers and are hitting the hill again. Quite a few vehicles coming up now from left to right. We have a double crank compound barrel road loco, then a Jony Morgan wide load van, and then a Jony Morgan Scammell heavy haulage lorry. Next, sounding very good coming up the hill, we have got a single cylinder barrel agricultural engine pulling two non-heavy haulage trailers. Next up is a Winds heavy haulage lorry coming up the hill. We have got this heavy haulage international, which sounds amazing coming up this hill. And then a couple of heavy haulage Volvos. Now coming up the hill as if it's pulling something heavy is the International. Marshall traction engine with a load of logs, trying to make it up the hill, but has not quite made it. Even though this next set of traction engines must have a much heavier load, there is 2 McLarens and 1 Fowler at the back, so they made it up fine. Here is then the International again, who has come to save the day to pull the poor Marshall traction engine who didn't quite make it up. Now they are just getting ready to go, but he's trying to apply power before releasing the brake so that it doesn't roll back. And here are the same 2 amazing McLarens at the front and the Fowler at the back, pulling their engine up the hill again. Here is then a heavy haulage scammer, looked quite bumpy as he reached the top of the hill. Here is then one of those McLaren traction engines pulling a load of logs up the hill.
can see the scammer has picked up an engine to pull up the hill. Now from a lower angle, the same scammer and trailer. Next up is a single crank compound traction engine, followed by an AEC Matador pulling the trailer load of 2 boulders. Now from the higher angle again is a Foden steam lorry going up well up the hill, and then a evening porter traction engine. We can then see the same AC Matador overtaking a traction engine. Then the Thornycroft Anti is coming back up the hill with its trailer load still on. Now at the bottom of the hill we can see a McLaren traction engine pulling one of the heavy haulage boilers. Here is then 2 scammers pulling an engine trailer. There will be a third one that will hook onto the front soon. Here is then the most of my traction engines at one time that we've seen, with the barrel at the very front, then the Foden, then the Fowler that we've seen previously, and at the very back another barrel. And just saying the car and traction engine, possibly going to pick up a trailer or maybe just drop one off. Now the third scammer is hooked onto the front, but slightly further away we can see a 4-inch scale McLaren with a little heavy haulage trailer. Back up at the top it was just starting to get late, and lots of the engines had gathered for a group photo at the very top of the hill. As you can see, it's very dusty. In fact, you can hardly tell there's even a Foden traction engine and a barrel road locomotive there, as they're just starting to emerge from the pits. Next is then a McLaren traction engine pulling the heavy haulage boiler again. And then a barrel and enabling racing, although the barrel seems to be much quicker. The scammers is now unhooked from the trailer, and it was starting to get dark, as you can see, and a couple of them have now just come up the hill. Next up is then a double trunk compound Garrett pulling one of the heavy haulage trailers. And then you have a Scammell and Foden it now come off the trailer and it's having to go at the hill itself. Last engine we seen go to hell was this case, sounding very good, pulling the heavy haulage load of logs.
I think that's going to be the end of this episode of the Welland heavy haulage section. Obviously finishing it off with those two brilliant loads and obviously the traction engines and the Scammells there. If you want to watch the full video of the Welland rally, then click somewhere there and that should take you to the video. Hope you have enjoyed, and that's going to be the end of it.